welcome back to Ohio and the finale of this mini series. And you will see it is a feature length episode. This is going to be a mixture of time lapse and normal speed because it felt like it fit better with what we were doing. The job for today is to harvest the 3 fields of canola that we have and get them processed for diesel. So the first field, we're going to go for double combines with 1 combine on course plate and me driving the other. And you will see that I have auto drive stuff up because we're going to use auto drive to do the carting. We're going to see if the carter can do a better job of looking after both combines, unlike last time where he focused entirely on the combine on course plate and ignored me completely. So yeah, basically lots of combining, lots of selling, and we'll see where we're going to end up. Those of you that are fans of this series, it may come back. So I've spoken about it a bit. I've not really decided yet. I've not committed to a schedule yet because the week's a mess. But if I end up streaming consistently, this is one of the options I have for a series to use to stream. With only, with what we have on here, and we could get more kit as well if we need to, I think I can run this farm in a way that would be okay for kind of an hour or an hour and a half long stream. So it may come back in that guise, although I haven't streamed for nearly 2 weeks now. But the stream on Calmston, I was shocked how many people actually joined live, and then it got a huge amount of rewatch on YouTube. It was kind of surprising, if I'm honest. And I do love Calmston, and I do love that save. The problem is that save doesn't really fit with the kind of length of stream that I like to do, because some of the stuff takes quite a long time. It's something that I was talking about in the Maypole video this week. The farm on Calmston has got big and has got to the point where it takes a long time to do jobs. So although it was popular, and maybe I'll try a stream on here and see how that goes. Calmston is not something where it will fit nicely into the kind of length of stream that I want to do, and we can make progress. So yeah, I've not really decided yet how that's going to work. We will see, basically. So I'm just getting auto drive set up. I don't know if at this point I have fixed I'm going to say no, I haven't yet. So the auto drive course was created before I put the fertilizer bin in. So you'll see, there we go, the truck is waiting to get past the fertilizer bin, so we've got to redo some auto drive, and this is partly the reason why I didn't do it all as time lapse, because doing stuff with setting up auto drive is a bit of a faff and is better suited to doing stuff slightly slower. So yeah, we kind of need to sort this because he's just going for it. I need to do a bit of deleting of stuff, and then we'll try and hook up a new route to get through to the bit of the auto drive course that we need. So most of the rest of this I do. So there's a mixture coming up. Actually, there's a mixture of auto drive and course play and manual and different modes and stuff. So yeah, and then we're going to process everything and sell it all and see where we end up. So I do not remember how much I spent setting up this farm particularly, because it's just been about doing a bit of farming, and we ended up focusing on the ethanol and diesel production plant. And it's, do you know what's really been weird, and I think I mentioned it, not having animals, and particularly not having animals with Maize Plus where they eat an insane amount of food, or I've got so many that they eat an insane amount of food, because I can finish the field work and I can just skip a day, and it's been kind of interesting. I've got to say, I do prefer animal-based farming in FS. But yeah, it's been interesting. So we've got auto drive hooked up now, so everything should be good. I don't remember if at this point we've got our courseplay course set. That might be the next job. We need to put the combines on the right settings as well. So it doesn't matter what mode you have course auto drive on particularly. But yeah, we need to set up a combine course. So we're going to do 2 headlands and 2 implements. And that effectively gives us 4 headlands, which is plenty of room for turning. And this is a nice big field, but actually with 2 combines, it's a nice easy job. And if I do bring this in to be a streaming series, I might get another combine, for example. I might go back to the really big seeder that we had, because seeding with the 8-meter seeder took quite a long time. So if it does turn into a streaming series, it will be focused around big kit that we can get through jobs quickly on, or multiples of kit, and we'll be running course play or something like that. So that's that one done. I used the copy function to copy the course across to this one, but I'm going to drive this one. It works quite well, I find, doing it this way. Means I can run 2 combines, or I could run 3 combines, and I'm not having to just sit and watch. I did do a video where I did that on here. We did the one with the harvesting contract that I did, but I wanted to actually do some work. Some would say makes a change. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Actually, I did have something I wanted to run. I don't have the article up in front of me, actually. But I remember some points from it, so I thought I'd have a chat about it. And it was a random article. I think it came up on like a Google News recommendation or something. And it was 10 things that Giants could fix in Farm Sim to make it better. And it was on one of these gaming journalism websites. And it was someone who'd clearly played a bit of Farm Sim, but maybe not mega deep. And one of the things that there are a few things that they spoke about, and some of them I do not agree with, some of them I do. No surprise. There were some things that a lot of people have asked for, but personally I wouldn't use. So the first one was around things like vehicle maintenance. So rather than just driving your combine up to, and I'm going to expand on it a bit here with my imagination, rather than driving your combine up to the repair point, getting out and hitting repair, maybe you have to replace some parts or go round the vehicle and grease, stuff like that. There is a grease mod. I've never used it. And I know some people would enjoy that element. Maybe that's how you would pass your quiet periods in Farm Sim. I tend to have animals on the farm, and my quiet periods are generally spent feeding animals. But maybe you would spend them fixing vehicles. So actually, I'm going to wind my neck in on this one, because I've thought it was a pretty bad idea. But actually, maybe that's how some people want to spend their time. I don't feel that the game should turn into tractor repair simulator. And obviously there's the whole right to repair. If you've got John Deere kit, you're taking it to a dealer. Sorry, not really knowledgeable on that, but it's a thing that crops up on using stuff. So yeah, but I'm imagining there are people that want this to be tractor repair, tractor restorer simulator, and you take your battered old tractor and bring it up to, shiny show standard, and that's not what Farm Sim is, I don't think. So bits of it, yes, bits of it, no. There was a bit about more detailed animal mechanics, and again, bits of it I could see yes, bits no. So I've seen a lot of it where people say, you should have animals should get ill and they have to get the vet out and that kind of thing. And I think Bergman went some way to that, because it had the whole artificial insemination and stuff. I think I never played Bergman. Just never got around to it. Didn't excite me. And, you know, again, maybe if that's what you want to get into, awesome. For me, I don't want to have to manage at that fine level of granularity. A big problem in that with how FS works with animals is FS doesn't, except for horses, it does. And horses we'll get to. But for every other animal type, it doesn't model individual animals, it models categories of animals. So if you've got, say, 20 cows that you buy at once, that'll be a block of 20 cows, not 20 individual cows. If you have animals that are the same age and same, essentially, yeah, same age and same, they get grouped together, essentially. So FS doesn't model individual animals, so that would be difficult. It does for horses. And the other one that was suggested around animals was around equestrian stuff, and it's not Pony Club Simulator. You know, I think most people avoid horses because of things like you have to ride them. And I get that maybe there are people that want to ride their horses around and do jumping and all that kind of stuff, but it's not what FS is for. There was that, and the other one, and that is one that I am more interested in, is they spoke about, so it's why we stopped. I think everything needs emptying. No, it started raining, that was it, and I had to step ahead a month so we can crack on with combining. Yeah, the other one was around optimization for PC. As most of you know, this game is pretty horrendously optimized for running on PC. And an element of that is previous gen consoles, but an element of that has to be the engine, I think. You know, when I'm playing on my desktop, I am playing on a pretty high-end PC at this point, and I still get 60 FPS. I play on very high graphic settings, but I still get 60 FPS. And yes, I know you can unlock it with F3. Still get 60 FPS, or maybe slightly above, but not hundreds of FPS. So there's definitely a lot of room for optimization in the game engine. And yeah, that was one that I really agreed with. And how much of that is, you know, I don't run a lot of mods, but I run a decent amount in each save. And how much of that is driven by mods, I'm not sure. And I guess that would be that would be an interesting test. Stick a comment below if you're curious on this one. I'm really curious, which means I might end up doing it anyway, if the impact on performance as you add in mods. Now, the different types of mods are going to have a different effect, obviously. You know, if you add script mods in that are running constantly in the background, that's going to have a longer effect than if you add in a high polygon mod that you're not always near. And then you've got the whole, you know, if you've got lots of bales and that kind of thing. I'm really curious about that now. And it links into the other video that I am so interested in doing, but having to hold back because, so I run this YouTube channel as a small business. Essentially, it's a hobby. I really enjoy it, but there are costs associated with it. You know, the music that I use, I pay for. I pay for Discord Nitro so that I can share bigger files with people when doing stuff with the farming agency. Don't have to do that. I choose to do that. The software that I use to make the thumbnails, also the website that I use to make thumbnails, I pay for a premium subscription on there for the facilities that it offers. And there are other things. So there are costs associated. There's income associated. So I run it as a small business. And I would love to do the minimum recommended spec PC tests with FarmSim. I wouldn't have to spend silly amounts of money to do that. Probably about £100. But the video's never going to make back that £100. And you know, linked to that would then be, because you know, I'm assuming that if you had the minimum recommended spec PC, you'd be running on low graphics. Probably, if you went nuts on the mods, you'd lose your FPS. And so they're really kind of linked. I'm still scouring eBay. You know, I was doing it at the weekend. I'm kind of curious, and I may end up, so there's two problems. There's a couple of problems, but so the first one is the hardware and the cost of the hardware. The second problem is that I have more copies of FS22 than most people because I have 3 computers with FS22 on them. And they're all Giants licenses. You can install Giants license FS on multiple computers, but there's a limit to how many times you can activate it, and you can obviously only use it on one computer at a time. If I'd bought it on Steam, with Steam you can install it on different computers. So I would have to buy potentially another copy of FS just to test this idea out. I would need, yeah, so that, and I'm so curious about it, but I just, you know, economically it does not make sense to invest the money in it. What I do have is I have a very old PC that is way below the minimum specs, and I'd still be really interested if it could run it. I've got several old laptops that I could test it on, and I have spoken about this in a video before. Maybe that's the way I do it. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling over the top of this gameplay. It just, you won't be, if you're a regular, this shouldn't be new to you. Maybe I did that first, because that might justify the cost of a copy of FS. There is a video that I've seen, and it's got a lot of views, but it's a year old, of running FS on, it's not quite minimum spec, but it's using integrated graphics as well. So it was a slightly higher spec CPU, but no graphics card. Yeah, I'm guessing most of you that already play on PC aren't so interested in that, but where my brain goes. So getting back to the gameplay, I've skipped ahead another month, so the last 2 fields are ready to harvest. I've put the combine in this field on course plate, and I've set it to do combine unload, so it should drive and unload into that trailer that I've just parked up. Whilst that does that, we're going to harvest the other one. So I'm not going to set auto drive or anything up. I'm just going to bring the truck over if I need to, or try and park it somewhere I can empty into easily. And the reason I've done it this way is the lake in this field made combining it a bit of a pain with course plate. What I might do is actually, if we stay farming on here, I might make some changes to how the fields are set out so that we don't have this big field with a bow in it. I might bring field 27, which is the field on our left, across, and have combine field 27 with half of field 26 and have a smaller field that's the bottom half of field 26 that's got our production in it, because it'll be more worker friendly then, essentially, because there's going to be an element of using workers if we continue on here. So yeah, I'm about halfway through this video. I am really stretching the randomness of the topics now. I am curious if you guys are interested in any of the tech stuff. So I've said it a few times, I'm a massive tech nerd, and YouTube is really enabling that in me, because I have an amount of disposable income that I can justify spending on tech. Yeah, so, you know, so I got actually, that was a birthday present. That doesn't really count. I was going to say the half keyboard, but that was a birthday present. Actually, what I have just done is brought myself some new headphones. So I used to use the whatever cheap earbuds I had laying around to listen when I was doing the sound editing. I then bought myself a budget set of Sennheiser earphones. So they're a good brand, but they were cheap. And they're actually really good. I'm perfectly happy with it. They get a bit uncomfortable for a long time. So like when I'm recording with Cartech, or when I've been on with Paul, they get, 2 or 3 hours, they get a bit uncomfortable. But for what I do, they're fine. But what I when I'm traveling with them, they're quite bulky and they take up a lot of space. So I've brought myself a half decent set of earbuds. Don't actually remember what brand they are. They're not a brand that I was particularly aware of. I'm just looking at them now because I think they have the brand name on them. I'll get there. I'll get there. They don't appear to have the brand name on them. I thought they did. If you're really curious, stick your comment below and I'll put the brand in. They were about 50 quid, which is the most I've ever spent on a set of earbuds that wasn't noise cancelling earphones a long time ago, as a massive treat to myself that came with a separate little audio converter to handle the noise cancelling. So these are not noise cancelling earphones, they're just nice earbuds. They're wired because I prefer wired. I just prefer wired. We deal with it. So they've made traveling a bit easier because I don't have a massive set of earphones. So traveling like this, I bring with me 2 laptops. I have my work laptop. I have my own laptop. A laptop stand for my laptop to help keep it cool whilst gaming or recording. I have a mouse and mouse pad with me because I hate using the touchpad on laptops now. I used to love using touchpads on laptops, now I hate it. I have the PlayStation controller because I occasionally use that when I'm playing. I have the spare phone that I use for Sim Dashboard. I have a microphone arm and a microphone. I do not travel light. As before I pack my clothes, I've got running kit with me because I'm away for a couple of days and I would like to go running. I do not travel light at all. And so getting these earbuds has meant that I have one less big thing to carry with me. Come in a nice little travel case, really cool. The other thing is that if I am sat editing sound at home in the lounge with Mrs. D, which I sometimes do, if she's watching something on her phone and we've got TV on in the background, I might sit and edit sound in a video. And having the earbuds, I plan to actually, there's a couple of cases where I'm going to use them traveling because they're easier. They're actually really comfortable, so I might start using them when I am doing multiplayer stuff. But also when I'm just editing videos sat at home in the lounge, because I can I leave a cheap ass set of earbuds next to my chair that I usually sit in. One earphone works, and so having a nice set of earbuds, they're apparently a very tough brand, so they should last a long time. So yeah, having a nice set of earbuds is going to be nice for doing that. So I might leave them downstairs. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's why I've got them. But they're really comfortable. So, and I sometimes, I consume a lot of content through my phone, and quite often I do that with Bluetooth headphones in because I'm generally doing stuff while I'm doing that. But I have got into, because my laptop has a nice screen, it has a high resolution screen, so I have got into sitting watching stuff on my laptop. And so having a nice set of headphones to plug in rather than a single earbud is kind of nice. But yeah. But I'm not an audiophile. That was one thing I was going to talk about. So I bought what I thought was an expensive set of earbuds. I did a Google search initially to look for them, and it was like top 10 earbuds that cost about this much, or whatever it was. It was top 10 wired earbuds, I think, initially. And I think this set was listed as the best budget set. And I scrolled down, and it's £1,000 for earbuds. £1,000. I've seen Bluetooth ones that are like that as well. It's like, geez, really? Can you tell that much difference? So we're just finishing up the combining now. We've got everything else is done. So we're going to get into, I'm going to have to speed time up to process the canola into diesel, and we'll get into selling it. But before I do that, the last random thing, and again, this might surprise me because I generally play with sound off. Been looking at PC speakers for 2 reasons. One, I quite often actually listen to music through the PC, and having some decent sound would be nice for that. It would be quite nice sometimes to have sound for games. It would be quite nice, but I think I'd hate it to edit video with decent speakers. A lot of the tech YouTubers that I watch, particularly in video stuff, they always recommend that you, or quite often recommend that you edit your sound through speakers, not headphones. So I've been looking at that. I've actually been using in the loft. I have a 5.1 surround system. It's old, so it's wired. It's a big ass amplifier. I've been kind of tempted to set that up, which is stupid because I used to have 5.1 surround sound for my desktop PC, but it was as old as the old gaming PC that the case came from originally when I upgraded my desktop, and it's the old PC that I've mentioned earlier in this video that I'm really curious to see if it will run FS22. And they had died. I did have a look at reusing them, but it had died. So we've just started tipping the canola in to process. Sorry, I should be paying attention. It's the finale of this series. I'll get to it. So yeah, I was actually looking today on Amazon at 2.1 sound systems. I quite like bass. Yeah, I know. I'm from Essex. And for about 50 quid, you can get a half decent set of PC speakers. Or I've got in the loft what was quite an expensive 5.1 sorry, surround system. It's got a freaking huge sub. But I don't know if I'd ever use it to justify it. So, anywho, we've tipped the canola from what was the cotton field in. We've filled the trailer up off of this field, and there's a bit left in the combine. I was going to try and empty from the combine straight in, but some idiots left a tanker there. So we'll tip this 110,000 litres of canola in. I think we've already got some diesel processed because the first field that we harvested has been processing while we've been skipping time. So we do have stuff to start selling, and it processes nice and quickly, so we can pretty quickly jump in the tanker and start to get stuff sold. And I'm kind of curious how we're going to end up on here. So we've got 40,000 litres of ethanol to sell. That was from the maize that we processed. We've got 30,000 litres of diesel to sell, and all the canola is processing. So, and we'll get canola meal, which we can sell. If you're interested in this mod, I don't remember the name of it. It's also the one that we are using on Green Valley, which hopefully we might get back to some point. For the TMR factory, and in there you can use the byproducts of this production in the feed productions that come with it. There's TMR one and there's pig food one, so you can use them in that as well, and you get a lot of byproduct, but also it gets a really good price. I don't remember what economic difficulty I'm playing on here, but it sure does pay well, better than the crops, I think, which is weird. So we're going to load up the I think we have canola meal, but I think actually I'm just going to park this trailer up out of the way, and we're going to load up the tanker. So drop that trailer off. We will need that again in a bit, but I really wish I'd got this with the short wheelbase. It's so much less maneuverable than the black truck. And thankfully that slider doesn't have a collision on it, so that does not count as a crash. Okay. Yeah, this little experiment seems to have been quite popular. This little series has done quite well for views, and it's occasionally been a main video on the channel just with how life's been lately, but yeah, it's worked well. And I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. It's been fun. It's really nice, and particularly this weekend again. It was really, because I think I recorded 2 Ohio videos this weekend. So the 2 that you will have seen this week. It's been really nice having some farm sim that's not complicated. Now I enjoy the complexity of things like Maize Plus and seasonal growth and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's nice for it not to be complex. So we have loaded up with something ethanol. We're off to the ethanol sales. So that's a sell point that's part of this pack as well that I placed up at one of the sell point complexes. We've driven past it, I think, at least once. I was actually moderately proud of the job that I did of putting it in because it doesn't look horrendous, I think. There is also the sell everything point there as well, which will take this. But so let's make some money, I guess, and see where we end up. I wasn't sure, if I'm honest. I knew we had quite a bit of capital essentially sat in that production because, you know, like the ethanol's $5.5 grand per 1,000 litres. So right here we've got $150,000 pretty much. Yeah, so that'll give you some idea because we've got a whole load of diesel to sell, a whole load of canola meal, I think. Oh, just about managed to not roll it, you know. And the CFG should be pretty nice. Ethanol is a liquid at this point, isn't it? I guess. Okay, maybe the CFG is not really low. That's weird. That field's only part planted. Didn't notice that when I was going past it before. So yeah, up here, along with the animal stuff that I placed a it's like a manhole cover, but I put the little barriers and stuff around it. I think they came out of the Platinum DLC, or maybe they were a mod, I'm not sure, but I thought it kind of looked like it was meant to be there, and it kind of fit in with the barriers that are up ahead of it. So I might have even been part of the map, I don't know. But anyway, I thought it looked quite good. I'm quite proud of it. I generally suck at building stuff in FS, which is weird because whenever I post a let's make a farm video, which is usually only at the start of a series, they always get loads of views. So yeah, maybe that tells me something. I don't know. I'm just trying to fill time while this thing finishes emptying. So $162,000 for the ethanol, and we have another 9,000 litres to sell because it wouldn't all fit. So we'll get that sold as well. It's going to be another 40-odd thousand pounds. I think we were about $15,000 when we started selling, because it'll be kind of curious to see just how much we make towards the end. I don't actually remember the number at this point, because since I recorded this, I've recorded at least one more video and time has passed, and $47,000. Wow. Yeah. $210,000 from the ethanol. That's not bad, is it? Out of 2 fields of corn, I think. I've skipped ahead some time now, so I think most of the canola is processed. We've got 70-odd thousand litres of diesel and a whole lot of canola meal. So we're going to have to do a few trips to sell the diesel. Just looking for diesel in the price list to see where we're going to go. So ethanol sales will sell everything, and that's nearly $4 grand per 1,000 litres. And I think we have over 2 trailers full by the end. I didn't see the numbers, but yeah, that's going to be a fair bit of cash again. Oh well, that's why we do this. Well, it's partly why I play Farm Sim. I enjoy making cash in games. So yeah, let's hit the sell button, shall we? There we go. Seems weird, but essentially dumping diesel into an open grate. That's not a fire hazard, is it? Pretty much finished processing the canola, and we've got about 180,000 litres of canola meal to sell. So yeah, hope there are no open flames around this pit of diesel and whatever else anyone's dumped in it. It's not going to be good. That might have been actually, was that one of the things that was in the article I was speaking about? That kind of more... Oh, I think that would be one that would be interesting. I guess you can sort of do it. Yeah, I guess in a way Alien Jim did it with the train, and having sell points that are a bit more interactive, it'd probably bug me eventually. But, you know, maybe having a grain sell point that you have to tip into a grain thingy auger. And I guess it's kind of how this is kind of like a millennial farmer type grain complex, I guess. After the fact that we're dumping diesel in the hole. But the sell point extras, I guess, is kind of like how millennial farmers one works. Oh, excuse me, tired. I don't know, it's Monday still. So it's left home for work a long time ago, done the day at work, recording commentaries. Nothing new again, but I'm tired. So I'll have a hit of caffeine in a bit, I think. So one of the nice things about this hotel room I'm in is it's got a fridge, so I've got a cold can of Monster waiting for me, which I really don't recommend this late in the day, but hey, I need a bit of a pick-me-up. $120,000 for that tanker of diesel. That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. We're not doing badly out of this. We're not doing badly. So I wanted to do the solids in one hit, so I've linked up the dolly that we had, and we've got both trailers on the back of the black truck. This is going to be a pretty heavy load to pull because we have 176,000 litres of canola meal to get shifted. And these trucks are pretty powerful. I think they're well over 1,000 horsepower. I don't remember the exact numbers, so should be okay once we get rolling. We just hope we don't need to brake suddenly. Gives me flashbacks to playing ETS with heavy loads and crashing into stuff, which I do a fair bit in ETS. More expensive in ETS because the repair bills get big. If you're not on Discord, ETS is the game that I've been playing lately in the background because it's kind of doesn't require too much thinking. I think I've spoken about it in videos recently. ETS is the game that I sometimes play for a bit and then throw away again. I've had it forever. I was looking on Steam at how long I've had some of the games on there. I'll talk about it in a video at some point when I've got Steam open so I know how long it is. But some of the games I've had in Steam forever. My Steam account is so old. In fact, there are some games that should be on there that I don't think are. Which makes me think I might have got a new Steam account at some point. Because I used to have the original Counter-Strike on there. Long time ago. And what was the other game that I had on there? I've forgotten. There was another one that was really popular, first person shooters, that all my friends at work were like, oh man, you've got to play this game. And I realised I hate first person shooters. But, you know, it's a very popular genre, so, but you can see we are struggling with this load. It is heavy. You can, one of the things I really like in FS22 is you can feel when you've got a heavy load on the back. In the way the vehicle responds, you can't genuinely feel it, you know. But curious to see what we're going to make out of this as well. You can see if we do carry this series on, we're going to be in a pretty good place financially. So, and that's where, you know, I was coming from with the, you know, we could buy another combine, we could buy back the really big seeder, maybe get a third plough. I don't actually know if the smaller Fendt could run one of the ploughs we've got, but we've got 3 big tractors now, so, you know, we could get a third plough, we could run triple ploughs, that kind of thing. So we could get through work quickly, is what I'm saying, basically. I would like to say that was a keyboard disconnect error, but that was an error between the keyboard and the chair. Yeah, no idea why I did that, but let's get this canola meal sold. So, gonna say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point as well, because I haven't done that yet, and we should do that because that's the thing. Thank you to the senior Disturbians or Disturbian Elite or whatever I said on there as well. You guys are really cool. Everyone's cool who supports the channel. Those guys that watch it are cool. Words filling space while waiting. So $168,000 for the first trailer full of waste product from this process. Yeah, I'd really love... it'd be really cool to try and integrate this into Maize Plus. You know, the meals into the feed. But I don't want to pull this into Maize Plus, this playthrough into Maize Plus. And I don't think it really sits in the kind of style that I do with Maize Plus, with the kind of European farming, because, you know, I think the whole ethanol thing is more of a US thing. Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. So that's the solid sold. This is the last of the diesel coming down. We're at the best part of $750,000 in the bank. We are crashing the truck almost one last time. A bit of a late break there. Yeah, so let's get this last stuff sold. I've had some fun issues with OBS, losing the ends of recordings tonight, which is a bit frustrating. So just recording this last little bit at the end. We end up with about $800,000 in the bank. Been a lot of fun making this little series. I have the next one planned. If you're on Patreon, you'll know what it is. If you're on Patreon and you don't know, go watch the video if you want to find out. And if you've enjoyed this series, then give it a like. Let me know in the comments. And if you've been watching this and you aren't ready, think about subscribing to the channel for more fun stuff. Yeah, so this might be back in a stream. It might be done for good, but we'll be back doing other cool stuff soon on Somewhere New.